Songs of War is truly an amazing movie and there's a lot to admire about it. Whether you are a fan of Minecraft, the fantasy genre or good storytelling, or you are simply a fan of Black Plasma Studios, you will definitely find something to enjoy here. And there's really a lot in this movie that deserves admiration and for which the creators deserve recognition. What I personally like the most about movie creators, I don't mean Squared Media specifically now but in general, are the artistic details. I don't mean Easter eggs now, which I also really like and will talk about in this video, but I mean details that you don't notice the first time you watch the movie, but when you do, you smile because the creators thought about such little things. And that's exactly what this video will be about. So yeah, that's all for the introduction, let's get started. In the prologue, when Thalius tells how the Ardoni organized a tournament to decide who would build the Prime songs, yeah, we see the place where it happens, we all know it. I want to specifically focus on this one shot where we see the competing Ardoni at the start of the tournament as they touch the tips of their weapons together. We can also notice Thalius here, but that's not what I want to point out, because after a while it's quite easy to notice that it's Thalius. Although it actually took me quite a while to notice it, but never mind. I specifically want to point out his sword, because as we can see it's a completely ordinary diamond blade. It's not enchanted, while in the rest of the movie Thalius' sword is enchanted. This is a really beautiful detail where we can see that the sword has some kind of story and that Thalius has been through something with it. This also made me think of a theory that in the upcoming Songs of War spin-off we'll see how Thalius comes to Etheria and has it enchanted for the upcoming battles in the Great War. Because in Songs of War we actually never saw how enchanting works in Ardonia. It probably works like in a regular Minecraft, enchanting table and lapis, but it would be interesting to see it. And I would really like to know what kind of enchant Thalius actually has, because I honestly have no idea. Thalius just always does this motion with the sword accompanied by this sound. The sword glows brighter, but otherwise I really don't know what the enchant does. Still a very beautiful detail that I definitely appreciate. And we will stay in the prologue because here's another thing worth noting, though I'm not sure what exactly to call it. In the scene where we see the representatives of the kingdoms asking the Ardoni to use the Prime songs, we can see this blue surface, which definitely isn't water because water in Songs of War looks like Minecraft water when you turn on shaders, and there's no surface rippling or light reflection. We can also see that from those blocks it transitions smoothly into that blue area and honestly it looks like the void. My theory is that some kind of rendering error probably happened here, but I don't want to dig into it too much because I have no idea how Blender and animation actually work. I do have Blender, but my biggest achievement was when I figured out how to rotate the cube, so I'm not going to pretend I understand it. But to me it looks like some kind of error. If there is anyone who understands this or knows what it might be, write it down in the comments below. When Abigail returns from the hunt where she found the Ender Dragon egg and Mr. Finch shows off what he bought, Sam steals his food and brings it to Abigail's room. At the moment when Abigail takes the food from the backpack, notice the fire burning in the fireplace. This is one of only 2 scenes in the entire movie where a classic Minecraft fire is burning. In all the other scenes, the fire is more dynamic and realistic. Even a few moments later, when Abigail returns to her room again, we see the same fireplace, but the Minecraft fire that was there before is gone, and now there's the kind of fire that's used in the rest of the movie. The second scene, where we can see classic Minecraft fire, is when the Felinas are about to attack the Necromancers. Then we can see on the Harbor Boys a classic Minecraft fire is burning. When Thalius and Sen arrive in Oakendale, we see various shots of the town, so we can get a sense of how people live there. During this shot, we can notice some members of Black Plasma Studios, though I no longer remember their names because it's really been a long time since I watched any of their older animations. I know that this is the director David R.B. and this is the co-director Samuel Kyber, but I honestly don't remember the others by name anymore. I recognize this one, I know he appeared in the older animations, and I know this one too. I think he's the director of Sword of Infinity, which he's even holding in his hand, and also Zombie Apocalypse, but I really don't remember their names anymore, so I apologize to the hardcore Black Plasma fans, but at least I recognize them by their skins, which I count as a plus. Now we move on to Luken and Nika, specifically to the moment when they are together in Nika's tree fort. Luken admires how Nika has set everything up and wants to take an apple that Nika has placed on the window, but she forbids him. A few moments later, however, we can see that Luken somehow managed to get the apple after all. Why am I mentioning this? Because when Luken first wants to take the apple, both apples are still on the window, but when Nika asks him why he is going after the necromancers and Luken starts explaining it to her, we can see that one apple is missing. Here it is, and whoop, now it's gone. Another nice detail that shows that Luken really is such a kleptomaniac and he is really also good at it, because Nika was looking at him almost the entire time and yet he still managed to take the apple without her noticing. Before I continue with this point, for those of you who don't yet know how Songs of War ends, I warn you that a spoiler is implied here. I won't say directly what happens, but you might figure out from what I say, so if you don't want to risk it, skip this point and fast forward to the point 7 at this time. So, the moment when Sen talks with Talius in Crown Peak. Sen first asks him what the Great War was like and then asks if Talius knows where he is from. And as we all know, Talius tells Sen only that his parents were killed by the Voltaris, Talius saved him and then entrusted him to the Ossivians' care. Which technically doesn't answer the question at all, because he didn't say a single word about where Sen actually comes from. But for some reason that answer is still enough for Sen and he says,
"Thank you for being honest."
Look at Talius's face. When you watch the movie for the first time, nothing seems strange here. But after you have read the script for season 3 or seen the fan-made version, since the official version doesn't exist yet at the time of making this video, you realize that Talius didn't tell Sen whole truth in this scene. And he knows it. That's why when Sen thanks him for his honesty, this expression says it all. He's troubled by not telling him the truth, but at the same time doesn't feel ready to do so. He is afraid of how Sen would react, yet he is also saddened that he didn't tell him, and he feels uncomfortable when Sen thanks him for honesty even though he wasn't completely honest. All of that can be read from his expression. And after you find out what happens in season 3, you realize that this is beautiful foreshadowing and one of the best details in Songs of War. When Sen and Igneous arrive in Biggerton together, they decide to get a map of Ardonia so they can reach Ataraxia. They first try their luck in a tavern, and here's in my opinion one of the most beautiful details in the whole movie, and actually the first one I ever noticed. When Igneous walks inside, he bumps his head on this cobblestone stair, and we can see that when he hits it, a few little stones fall off his head. It's just a tiny thing, but it really helps to amplify the impression that the Magnorites are truly stone beings and not just cool looking Minecraft skins. And when it's accompanied by that sound effect, the sound of stone hitting stone, perfection. Now let's move to the end of the movie, to the battle between Deathsinger and Tidesinger. we can see that when Echelion lunges at Ingressus, Ingressus uses Protesium Prime. However, we can also see that he used two types of Protesium song, which I'm not entirely sure he is supposed to be able to do, because with Prime songs you can use all variants of the ordinary songs, but it was never mentioned that you can use multiple times at once. So theoretically, it's possible since Songs of War never said otherwise. And let's say that if you are really good at song wielding, and Ingressus was along with Echelion one of the best, it might be possible that you could control multiple song types at once. I know that David RB also mentioned this in a behind the scenes video, but I don't remember now whether he said it was intentional or just a small mistake they didn't notice. I honestly don't know, but even if it was a mistake, I still think it's pretty interesting and could easily be used as a feature of the Prime songs. We will stay in this scene because there's one more thing. For a long time I thought that Ingressus and Echelion were alone on Mount Valgrind, and that the other Ardoni only arrived after both of them passed through the time portal. But that's not true, because in this scene I counted 3 dead Ardoni. Now I am thinking how blind I must have been, because this one here is actually quite visible, but never mind. I have a theory that these Ardoni were the ones who tried to oppose the Death Singer even before Tidesinger arrived, with the result of that fight being obvious from the start. And now, I just hope that none of these Ardoni will turn out to be one of the main characters in the Songs of War spin-off. I honestly hope that not a single one of them is some main character who decides to stand against the Death Singer. Guys, if that happens, that it's going to be some main character who sacrifices their life fighting Ingressus. Because seriously, Square the Media gives their main characters about the same survival chances as George R.R. Martin gives his in Songs of Ice and Fire. So I just hope we won't have to watch someone we grow to love in the spin-off series die in the battle with Ingressus. The best of course for last. Those of you who have seen the Songs of War behind the scenes videos know that Derp and Yi are hidden in the movie as Easter eggs. And I have watched Songs of War many times, but I could never find them. Even though I once dedicated an entire viewing just to looking for them, I still didn't find them. But now I can finally say that I found Derp. I still haven't found Yi yet, but I still consider finding Derp as a success, and I was really happy when I discovered him. It wasn't even that long ago, I found him during my latest rewatch of Songs of War, specifically on October 19th. So yeah, not long ago at all. Now I just hope the folks at Squared Media won't stone me for revealing where he is located. In the scene, when Sen meets Igneous, we can spot him among the inhabitants of Hogtown. And he is even doing his legendary wave. When you notice it, it's actually quite funny, and I would even say that he looks like he would love to be friends with 2 of them. So yes, I finally found Derp, I consider that a huge success, and now all that's left for me to find is Yi. That's all 10 small details in Songs of War. I got idea for this video when I first noticed the little stones falling from Igneous' head, then I noticed that blue surface in the opening, and then the members of Black Plasma Studios. When I noticed those 3 things, I thought to myself, if there are 3 details, might there be even more? So I watched the movie again, specifically looking for those little details, and I actually found them, and I definitely don't think I noticed them all. I am sure there are many more. Some I didn't even mention, for example, that in the tournament there are Ardoni with Osivians and Hubris' markings, but I only noticed that thanks to videos from CK Voltaris, and I didn't want to include something that wasn't my own discovery. But I know it's there. If you have noticed any small details that I didn't mention in this video, write them in the comments, or you can also let me know if you noticed any of the details I talked about. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, you can check out my other videos. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's up to you. And yep, see you next time.